Hi everyone, my name is Lucy and welcome back to the One Spa Chicago podcast. Today I'm going to be taking you on my journey as a patient through chin liposuction 3 years ago now, and this was a really transformative experience that has gotten better as time has gone on. So I'd really love to share with you all those details today, kind of get into the behind the scenes of what this looks like. So I first kind of want to break down what procedure I received and why it applies to what I was looking for. With body contouring, we try to take this to the next level. Something that's commonly missing with liposuction and removing volume is tightening the skin. We use something called Renuvion that uses helium plasma to gently heat the skin underneath your tissue to tighten that and basically create a contour where that volume was lost. So you get a true nice, firm, and smooth shape of what that area is intended to look like. So for me, applying that to the chin, we call that submental liposuction with Renuvion, and this is when we have 3 small incision points right here, and we remove fat with liposuction, and then in those same portal holes that we just created, the Renuvion wand is inserted in those same points. Renuvion is really exciting because it's one of the most advanced ways to contour the body without creating excessive scarring or injury to the skin to minimize downtime. So your downtime is really manageable. I'm speaking from experience, and we have treated patients from the ages of 25 to 65. The reason that I felt like I was a good candidate for this procedure was because I had addressed my double chin with other treatment options like Kybella. This was not a successful option for me. I constantly felt like I was insecure in social situations or really avoiding photos with friends because of my side profile. And I didn't think that I would have an opportunity to address this without some type of a drastic weight loss, which is truly not the case or the safe measure. So because this is a little bit more of my personal journey that I wanted to share with you, I first provided a little bit of context as to what this procedure is. And now I kind of want to show you a video that I took right before this procedure. I think it was one day before my procedure, the night before. So I want to watch that with you and see where my head was at as a patient at that time and kind of talk about what it did for me and the aftermath.
Hello, my name's Lucy. I do work at the One Spa Chicago, but I'm actually a patient myself. I have always been a little bit concerned about my chin. I've never really had a profile. This has just always kind of bothered me. I've, within the last year, lost about 30 pounds, and this is better now, but it's still not quite what I want it to be. I'm really looking for a more defined jawline, kind of just like eliminating this, but giving me a profile and kind of like more definition that I've never had. I have tried, masseter injections to kind of slim this. I've tried Kybella for these fat injections specifically for the chin. Did not really see much result or anything really long lasting. So I've seen this done on a few patients, but I am now going to be doing liposuction and Renuvion tomorrow. I'm really excited because I'm under the care of really good people from our own clinic, people I trust. But also I'm really excited to be able to talk about it and show everybody from my perspective like what this procedure is actually like, recovery time, when I see my results, and like really every step along the way. So it should be a pretty quick procedure, but I'm excited to talk about it and show everyone the journey.
Well, the first thing I want to say off the bat is I can definitely attest to my confidence completely changing from this, but it's sweet to hear kind of just the way that I spoke and carried myself versus how I do now. Again, it's been 3 years since that video was taken, but I'm glad that I took a moment to capture, I think, how I was feeling and what went through my mind as a patient. There's a slight bias because I know and truly trust the team here. For those of you who don't know, our surgeon is my father, so I have a lot of trust in him, which is, a really wonderful thing. But not just to me, I can truly attest to his credibility and concern for safety to all of our patients. So going into it, absolutely, I was super comfortable and I don't think as worried. I do remember leading up to the procedure that morning, it was still dark outside, it was cold. I felt like I didn't get enough sleep because I was so anxious and excited. Once I finally got there, I just kind of felt, okay, wow, this is a team I get to come to work with every day, people who I see do this with other patients and make them feel comfortable. So I really felt like I knew I was in great hands. But I want to talk a little bit about why I wanted to do this. I know that you just saw me speak in that video, but ultimately I struggled with my self-confidence, but it was kind of to an extent that I didn't understand until I felt as confident as I do now. I'll show also some photos that others caught candidly of me in certain social settings where I was so happy, but I didn't feel as confident in myself. I want to be careful with how I speak because I don't want to create a narrative around me not thinking I was beautiful or someone feeling like they need a procedure to feel beautiful. But for me, this is my own experience. Prior to that, I didn't really look at myself in the mirror the way that I do now. And I understand that I have a lot of really amazing access to beauty treatments, aesthetic treatments, all of this fun stuff. But aside from that, I just didn't really know what I didn't know. And so being in this industry and understanding what this was and finally going forward with this procedure, I had no clue what it was going to do for me as an individual and my confidence. And that is something I'm so unbelievably grateful for. After the procedure, when I was a bit more healed, I think one of the most memorable things for me was my mom telling me, "You look like you." And that's exactly why I wanted to do this procedure, because I wasn't here to change my face. I just wanted to feel like myself. And this was something that for me personally was prohibiting that, I think, in hindsight. So I did this procedure when I was about 27 years old, which I was able and very fortunate to bounce back pretty quickly. So my downtime was very minimal. It was honestly a very manageable recovery. I want to talk a little bit more about recovery. So immediately leaving the procedure, I tend to feel very emotional after coming out of some light anesthesia. Once I kind of came back into myself, you experience some soreness. This is very, very normal, but we immediately apply a really funny looking garment to your face. So it's kind of like a face bra. Essentially, you wear this for as long as possible for the first 48 to 72 hours. You really want to make sure you're compressing those areas that we just injured through a controlled method. And then from there, it's important to wear that garment as much as humanly possible for the next 2 weeks at minimum when you're sleeping. I was really able to manage my recovery with a lot of my normal day-to-day operations outside of work on my own. Just kind of had a lazy weekend, took my normal pain medication as prescribed. And my favorite point to make, again, I do want to emphasize that this is not a one-size-fits-all, and age did play a factor in my ability to do so. But just 1 week after this procedure, I went to a gala that was pre-scheduled for one of our sponsors or a vendor that we commonly work with. I can't quite remember, but I was so nervous at first thinking, oh, I'm not going to be able to go to this, or I'm going to have to wear some type of an outfit or cover my chest or my neck in all this makeup. But because these incision points are so small, the scarring is so minimal, and as someone who tends to scar pretty favorably, I don't have a lot of discoloration from scars typically. It was easy to mask, put a little makeup on it, and I had virtually no bruising after a week, and I was able to wear a low-cut dress, and none of my friends who knew I had the procedure could even tell, which was unbelievable to me. You know, your range of motion after a procedure like this can feel kind of funny. There is often some temporary nerve damage in little pockets. Not everybody experiences this, but for me, I had just a little area right here where I was numb for about a month after the procedure, and other than that, I really had no residual effects of my healing process. We have experienced such favorable downtime results for people because there is such minimal work you have to do to keep up with this process. And that brings me to a very important point, which is the post-op lymphatic massages. We incorporate this into all of our packages because healing and recovery is one of the most important things with any cosmetic or plastic surgery treatment. We offer post-op lymphatic massage, which is strategically done in a series of 6 or more sessions post-op, beginning either the day after or 2 days after the procedure. We really want to capitalize on all of that tissue and skin that's been affected by some type of controlled injury while it's still malleable, if you will, to avoid any lumps, bumps, or scars that can tend to form if they aren't addressed in a quick enough manner. As a patient, I remember walking in and thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be so uncomfortable. This is going to hurt. I don't want to do this. But being under the care of my team, everybody was very gentle and understanding and really walked me through that process of feeling comfortable to do this. And I did this in a series of 6 treatments after my procedure. So about every other day for the most part. We really emphasize the importance of post-op care, and that includes these lymphatic drainage massages to really bring down any residual fluid, help minimize bruising, really help minimize pain as well. So really all of those components play a huge factor into the success of your recovery. I've said this before, but it's kind of like going to the gym and expecting abs when you get home, or going to the dentist and not expecting to brush your teeth when you get home. The work that you're having done in a procedure like this is significant and not comparable to something you could do on your own at home, but the post-op recovery is a significant part of the success of that. And if you're investing this in yourself, you may as well invest in the entirety of it. So I really want to emphasize the importance of that and how it helped me. From pre-op to post-op, I felt incredibly cared for, educated, listened to. Ultimately, I can't say enough good things about this procedure. The fact that this can be applied anywhere on the body is incredibly exciting. But overall, I am the woman I am today because I took the steps that felt comfortable to me to boost my confidence and really just feel comfortable in my own skin. And I'm really, really happy to share why this was so special to me. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the One Spa Chicago podcast. I was so happy to share my patient journey with you today, and I hope that it inspired someone to feel more comfortable through this process. Our job is to make you feel supported and educated and understand what you're choosing to go forward with. So if this was interesting to you, we would really love if you could like and subscribe and maybe share this with someone who's going through the same thing. I hope that you tune in for our next episodes. We have some exciting guests coming on, and we can't wait to bring you some more exciting content in the new year. Thank you so much.